from Studio 3 at Buzz TV. It's The Horse's Mouth with Tom McManus. Welcome back to another episode of The Horse's Mouth Movers and Shakers, where we highlight those who are moving and shaking here around St. Augustine Beach and Jacksonville. I'm Morgan Allen, joined by my wonderful co-host and the franchise owner for Stretch Lab First Coast, Mr. David Ramos. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Yes.
Welcome to our studio.
Thank you. It is absolutely gorgeous in here. I love being here, so thank you for hosting us.
Love having you.
And we have a special guest today.
Deal.
We have Dr. Heather Mutchie with J&C Deiseil. Thank you for being here.
It's so great to be in. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely.
Great seeing you again.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I come from a very unique position. When I tell people what I do, it's a bit of a conversation stopper. I am an administrative
stopper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Freeze.
Yeah.
I am an administrative guide for the bereaved. So I help families with the paperwork, to-do lists, and administrative tasks after a death.
Wow. And that's the hardest time for people to go through. You must be a very empathetic person who can hold space for people. So thank you, because someone's got to do it. So, yeah.
And usually that falls to the family member who was closest. So I love to be able to take that off of someone's plate for them.
I bet. That's the hardest time for people to go through. So tell me, what does that process look like?
So when I work with my clients for administrative guidance, we work together for 20 hours at a time. And that can be spread out across the process. Everyone tries really hard to avoid probate. Whether or not that works, we'll see. I'm not particularly concerned with the law aspect. That's for you and your lawyer. But what I am concerned with is all of the little tasks that are going to annoy the life out of you while you're grieving, you're working, you possibly have children, and whatever else life already was throwing at you before your loved one died.
Yeah. And what are those tasks that we don't normally think about that are needed, but that always come up?
So especially in older families, the partnerships are pretty split in their roles, however people want to split them. But there's going to be one person who was maybe in charge of making sure the mortgage got paid and making sure that the utility companies were all under their name. So I am getting those called up and informed that there's a change, getting those changed over. A lot of these companies now moved everything online. And so my background is in gerontology, the study of aging in older adults. So I am particularly used to working with older adults who very much dislike this setup. And you know what? I can't blame them. It's nice to talk to a person. But when you can't do that, I'm there to help you get that tech aspect reset.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I know, we lost my mom a few years back, and my dad had a full list of going through and going down that list. We were talking earlier that he was one of those that was therapeutic, but you realize halfway through the list that there is a lot of things you haven't even thought about. And you also mentioned offset was when you're trying to do that is when you have all your family around and you're splitting time between family, both getting attention and giving attention to family, but having to go down this list because there are things that need to happen almost right away.
It's so good to know you now because you're a gift to people. So it's like whenever I know someone who passes away, I can be like, oh my gosh, I have the best resource for you. You have to meet Dr. Heather. She's going to take this whole weight off your shoulders. I love that we've gotten to meet now. So tell us a little bit more about what happens if there is, you said the legal aspect, you don't touch, but you handle the minutia. What are some of those things that we just aren't privy to that you relieve?
So I'm going to say the number one thing that tends to be the most annoying for people is utilities, particularly phone companies. You have the robocall line that you first have to fight your way through, which is a general consensus that people, the robots. Once you get through that, then you get to a person. that person is not going to be the one who can specifically help you.
Mhm.
And the worst part of that is when you're on the phone to get this taken care of, you'd like mustered up all of your strength and courage to do it. And they're like, "So why are you calling?" "I'm calling to cancel the membership for, sorry, David Ramos." Like,
Mhm.
"Oh, what's your relationship?" I'm like, "He's my dad. So can we talk to him?" "No, he's dead."
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss." Pass you up to the next person, and you do the whole thing again.
Mm.
This is very early on in the process. We're just saying that your loved one has died. Really hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to do that over and over again, that is not fun for anybody.
Yeah.
So that's very special that you can just take that load off for people. Now, what are some of the things that you look forward to in the process? Like, I mean, it doesn't seem like any of it's very fun, but you seem to enjoy what you do. So, what are those things that bring you joy?
The things that really bring me joy are when I can take off that administrative burden for people
Mhm.
so that they can connect with family. They can actually connect with the grief
Mhm.
um, that we all try to avoid or slowly are stepping into, to really be able to move forward, to connect with their family, to find how they want to explore grief, whether that's in a group or a faith setting.
Mm,
But you don't have time to do that if you're doing all of the work that I'm doing for you.
for real.
And how long are you usually working with the family?
So the way we're set up right now is I have 20 hours of my hands-on time to do that administrative work for a client. A 90-minute, I prefer in-home assessment so we can see the documents, find paperwork, find what we need, and figure out what the individual most wants. Because you had mentioned like your dad found a lot of solace in doing the list himself. Some people don't even want to touch it, and that's totally fine. That's where I know how to step in. Um, so that in that first 90 minutes, we'll figure out how I best help you. Then I will probably go off, do those tasks, reach back in for some follow ups, just let you know that things are progressing because that can be kind of stressful in the back of your mind. And then once our time is up, I will have a full detailed closeout session so you know where everything's left off because we're going to do as much as we can together. But like I said, some probates can last 18 months up to multiple years. So we're not going to get everything done. So I'm going to give you all of the details I can to make sure that goes well, and then some follow up sessions after that, uh, spaced out to make sure things are progressing the way they should.
Okay.
So, what sparked this? How did you get into this industry?
So the easy answer is my dad died.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to say that we had the setup for a best worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as many Americans think as that this would be everything you need. My parents have their burial plots prepaid for, a will from the 90s that my parents were only ever married to each other, so super simple. Everything goes to my mom. My brother and I get along really well, so there were no inheritance disputes. We were just there to support my mom and each other. My dad was a certified financial planner, so all of the finances were set up, the beneficiaries, all the little. Yeah. So we thought this is a terrible time, but of everyone who would have to go through something like this, we should be pretty well set up.
Mm-hmm.
And for those things, we were. And then there were still weeks and months of agony in this little minutia.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have loved to pay someone to do it because I was still working. My mom was still working. My brother was working and he lived out of town. And this is just a whole nother job to
Mm-hmm.
take on in also taking on grief.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was no one that you could pay to do it. I mean, you
Yeah.
could pay a TaskRabbit, but I don't know how much you would trust someone with a lot of the really secure information that has to pass back and forth to get this work done.
Mm-hmm.
So after my postdoc at Purdue ended, I was researching adult protective services.
Mm-hmm.
And when the time came to figure out what happened next, I thought this hole needs to be filled. Death happens to all of us, death happens everywhere. Um, this can't be the way that the system takes care of our grieving.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that with us and
Yes.
for what you're doing for people, relieving them of so much stress in such a hard time. So, Dr. Heather, thank you for being here today. If people want to hear more about you, contact you, how can they do so?
So they can go to my website, yourjcd.com, Or if they just want to hear more, they can check out the podcast Tending the After, where I'll talk about a lot of those things on the checklists and other instances people might come across.
Oh, fantastic. Dr. Heather, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, David, for hosting us.
My pleasure.
And viewers, we appreciate you for tuning in to another episode. If you want more information, you can find Dr. Heather's info in the link right underneath this interview on dailynewsnetwork.com. And we'll see you in the next episode of The Horse's Mouth Movers and Shakers.